excuse me would be nice.
You married?
41 years.
Yeah, well, we married too, Irwin. Once you and me jumped that broom, they jumped.
Irreplaceable, Raq.
Yeah, you keep saying that like you expected me to agree or something. So, what's going on, Ma? Why we here?
I got cancer. Doctors found it in my kidney.
You just gonna tell us the over pot roast?
You can take that, do whatever the hell you want with it.
Fuck this.
But even if you end up being somebody's parent, you never stop being somebody's child.
Yes, sir. What's the deal with it, YouTube? What's good with y'all? What's up with everybody? I'll go by the name of DC for those that's new to the channel. And to those that's familiar with the channel, welcome back. I appreciate y'all's support. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving y'all my thoughts and my opinion about Power Book 3, Raising Kanan Season 3, Episode 4, and let y'all know how I felt about the episode, as well as what I disliked about the episode. But before I do that, if you're finding me for the first time and you like power content like me, make sure to hit that like button to help this video get recommended across the algorithm. Hit the post bell notification button to support the channel and to get updated on all content I post on my channel. And leave your thoughts and theories and anything else you want to leave down below in the comment section. Now, overall, how I felt about the episode. Episode 3 was great. This was a great episode from start to finish. Episode 3 was a 10 out of 10 for me. The acting was incredible. The dialogue was incredible. The writing was amazing. The writing in this episode was amazing. I ain't gonna lie. Whoever wrote episode 3 did a dope job. I don't know who wrote this episode, but shout out to whoever wrote this episode. I gotta give credit when it's due. Shout out to whoever wrote this episode because they did an amazing job, bruh. I really don't got nothing bad to say about this episode besides Unique doing the crazy stuff that he did, which I'm gonna talk about in this video. Other than that, Episode 3 was great. In this episode, we saw a lot of stuff take place in Episode 3. We saw some truth get revealed in this episode. We saw some plays being made. And I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing what's next for all these characters and their storylines in these next upcoming episodes, especially the Thomas family. I can't wait to see what's next for them, especially with everybody in the Thomas family finding out about Grandma Joy having kidney cancer in this episode. I can't wait to see what's next for the Thomas family. With everybody in the Thomas family now know about Grandma Joyce having kidney cancer, I believe her death is about to impact the Thomas family in a major way, because we all know Grandma Joyce is out of here. The way she was looking in this episode, it's just a matter of time before Grandma Joyce is out of here, bruh. And while I'm on the topic of Grandma Joyce, I might as well start the recap off with talking about her and the Thomas family and them finding out about Grandma Joyce having kidney cancer in this episode. In this episode, we saw Kanan convince his grandmother to have a conversation with the rest of the family about her situation and let them know that she's dying from kidney cancer, which is something that Grandma Joyce was not with. She was not trying to let Lulu, Marvin, and Raquel know that she's dying from kidney cancer. But Kanan got through to his grandmother and convinced her that it was the right thing to do, even though she's not seeing eye to eye with her kids, so that's what she did. She set up a family dinner with everybody in this episode, and she brought the family together to let everybody know that she was dying from kidney cancer. And like I said, I believe the death of Grandma Joy is going to impact the Thomas family in a major way. And I would not be surprised if the whole family starts to go through it after Grandma Joyce died. We all know it's just a matter of time before Grandma Joyce is out of here, bruh. I'm predicting that she's going to pass in episode 5, based off of the episode 5 synopsis. Because in the episode 5 synopsis, if you know, you know, it reveals that Joyce's conditioning is going to take a turn for the worse. I don't see Joyce making it past episode 5. I could be wrong, but the way she was looking in this episode, I really believe by episode 5, Grandma Joyce is going to be out of here. Now, moving on, the next person I'm going to talk about in this recap is Unique. We saw Unique continue his warpath against Raquel in this episode, and he decided to target Richard and Sonny at the Golden Pavilion, and he took them out in this episode. He caught Richard and Sonny lacking in this episode when they was taking out the trash, and he walked Richard and Sonny right back into the restaurant, took Raquel's product and her money, and shot them afterwards, which is something that I don't feel like Unique should have did, bruh. Richard and Sonny did not deserve to die. I get it, Unique is targeting Raquel operation and everything, and that's cool, but Richard and Sonny was innocent. They was innocent at the end of the day. Unique ain't had to take them out. They ain't do nothing. They arguably probably one of the most quietest characters in the show. We don't never hear Richard and Sonny say nothing. Episode 2 is probably the most we ever heard Richard and Sonny talk, and that was because their nephew was still in product, and they had to speak up about that. Other than that, Richard and Sonny don't be saying nothing. They be playing the cut, doing them, making sure that the Thomas family get their money. And Unique go kill them for nothing because he upset at Raquel. Like, man, I just feel like this kill was unnecessary, bruh. Unique killing Richard and Sonny really pissed me off. I wasn't even 5 minutes into the episode, and I'm already pissed off at the fact that Unique took out Richard and Sonny. As well as Raquel and Marvin. They was definitely pissed off when they found found out that Richard and Sonny got taken out, because they knew this was going to cause some issues between them and the Koreans, especially Quan, because that was Quan's family. Richard and Sonny was the cousin of Quan's wife, and with Raquel and Marvin already knowing that this is about to create more issues between them and Quan, especially with Quan increasing Raquel's prices by 20%, they wanted to take care of this situation as soon as possible before it got out of control. So Raquel had Marvin go out to go find Richard and Sonny's nephew to question him about what happened with Richard and Sonny and whether or not if he was responsible for their death, since revealing to Raquel that he caught Richard and Sonny's nephew stealing product from them in episode 2, and that could be the reason why Richard and Sonny got taken out. But before he did that, Raquel told Marvin that Andre told her that the feds got eyes on Stefano, and the feds know about Marvin and Stefano kicking it with each other. And Marvin really sat in front of Raquel's face and lied to her about it. He like, I don't know nothing about that. Like, the feds tripping, they probably got a look-alike. Like, I don't know what they talking about, bruh. They just saying that to probably get in our heads. Like, I don't know nothing. Marvin was low-key sounding like Zeke from Power Book 2 Ghosts, bruh. He was up in that kitchen talking about some, I don't know nothing. And Raquel knew Marvin was lying, bruh. She knew this nigga was lying. And I don't understand why Marvin was even lying to Raquel. Like, I thought Raquel was the king of you, Unc. Like, what's going on, Uncle Marvin? You told Stefano in episode 1 that Raquel ain't in control of you. And not like that. You the big brother, bruh. I don't know why you scared of your little sister. Like, don't get me wrong, Raquel crazy. She crazy as hell, but Marvin the big brother at the end of the day, I don't know why he's scared of Raquel. I would have told her the truth if I was Uncle Marvin. I don't agree with Uncle Marvin lying to Raquel about this, because it's just going to make things worse for him when the situation between him and Stefano gets worse, because that's what's going to happen. These little side missions that Marvin is doing for Stefano is going to take a turn for the worse. And it's going to take a turn for the worse to the point where Raquel is going to have to intervene and possibly save Marvin from possibly getting taken out by the Italians. So I felt like it was no need for Marvin to lie to Raquel, especially with Raquel always being one step ahead of him and knowing the truth about stuff. That's one thing I can give Raquel props on. Raquel is always one step ahead of her brothers, bro. She is always one step ahead of Marvin. So for him to sit there and lie in front of Raquel's face like that, I was not agreeing with that, bro. I was not rocking with that at all. But right after this, Marvin went to go visit Richard and Sonny's nephew at his apartment to figure out if he had something to do with Richard and Sonny's death. And Richard and Sonny's nephew didn't even know that Richard and Sonny was dead. He was surprised when he found out about Richard and Sonny being dead. He did not know that they was dead. And the first thing he asked about was their daughter and whether or not was the daughter there, which Marvin totally forgot about. Marvin totally forgot about the fact that Richard and Sonny had a daughter. And with the nephew reminding Marvin about this made Marvin think about Joel's oldest daughter, Amber, that's in foster care. So with Marvin now knowing that the nephew didn't have anything to do with Richard and Sonny's death, he went to go question Early Tyler right after to see if Early Tyler heard anything about Richard and Sonny's death on the streets. Early told Marvin he hasn't heard anything about Richard and Sonny being taken out. He ain't know nothing about that until now. Early helped out Marvin with locating Joel's daughter Amber to figure out where she was at, and Marvin popped up on Joel's daughter Amber in this episode with the help of Early Tyler. And I'm glad Uncle Marvin went to go check up on Joel's daughter Amber. This was a great thing for Marvin to do, especially with him having a good heart, but at the same time, I don't think Marvin should have did this, because I do believe this could possibly come back on him. I don't know, I just don't trust everything that's going on around Uncle Marvin's character, bruh. And with Marvin getting back in contact with Joel's daughter, I believe Amber is going to pop up again at some point before season 4 is over with. I don't know, I just got that weird feeling that this is not the last time we done saw Joel's daughter. But I do believe Amber will keep in contact with Marvin, and I also believe Richard and Sonny's nephew will keep in contact with Marvin as well, because Marvin told Richard and Sonny's nephew in this episode that he was going to take out the person that was responsible for killing Richard and Sonny, which was Unique. We all know Unique was responsible for that, and I'm expecting Marvin to retaliate against Unique once he finds out that Unique was the one that took out Richard and Sonny. I definitely believe Marvin is going to take this Richard and Sonny's death to heart, especially with them leaving their daughter behind and their daughter now becoming an orphan. I definitely believe he's going to take that to heart, so I hope we could see Marvin and Unique potentially go at it in season 4, because I do believe Marvin is going to retaliate against Unique when he finds out he was the one that took out Richard and Sonny. Now with Richard and Sonny getting taken out, Raquel had to make sure that all her pieces was in place and make sure that everybody was on board to continue to do business with her and not let the death of Richard and Sonny affect the business deals that Raquel got going on with Richard and Sonny's family. So the first person that Raquel talked to in this episode from Richard and Sonny's family was Uncle Irvin. Raquel went to go visit Uncle Irvin in this episode to make sure everything was good between them two, and Uncle Irvin was not trying to do any more business with Raquel in this episode. He told Raquel straight up he wanted out. He like, bruh, I just lost my niece and nephew due to this stuff that's going on between you and your business. I ain't never had this happen before in day in my life. Like, this ain't worth the risk, bruh. This ain't worth the risk, bruh. This ain't worth the risk at all, and I want out. And this was something that Raquel was not going for. Raquel was not going for that shit. She asked Irvin, has he been married? And he like, yeah, 41 years. I've been married for a long time. And she like, well, guess what? Me and you is married. And whether you like it or not, you not going nowhere. And I can't lie, bruh. Patina Miller was in her bag in this scene, bruh. She bodied the hell out of this scene. Raquel low-key had me scared for a moment. Like, goddamn, chill the hell out. It ain't that deep. The look that Uncle Irvin had on his face, you could tell that he was scared, bruh. Raquel had Uncle Irvin shook. And I don't think this was a good idea to do. I don't think this was a good idea for her to threaten Uncle Irvin like this, but it is what it is. She had to let it be known where she was coming from. And I get it at the end of the day. I definitely understand Raquel's perspective on this. And in this game that she's in, she can't take no chances with loose lips. So I understand Raquel's perspective on this. I'm not mad at her about this, but I do believe this is going to create some issues between Raquel and Uncle Irvin in the future, and create even more issues between Raquel and Quan, especially with Uncle Irvin being a part of Quan's family. And we saw Quan and Raquel having issues with each other in this episode. Quan pulled up on Raquel in this episode and expressed his frustration about his wife's cousin Richard and Sonny getting killed. And he wanted Raquel to do something about this ASAP, telling Raquel that she's replaceable. And Raquel was just sitting there looking at Quan like, I don't know why you keep saying that, like that's something that I'm agree with. Like, ain't nobody about to agree with nothing you saying, bruh. And with Quan trying to flex his muscles in front of Raquel and letting it be known to her out loud that she is replaceable is dumb as hell. All that did was give Raquel more of a reason to try to become the connect. That's all it did. Because right after this conversation she had with Juan, she went to go have a conversation with Juliana's cousin Joaquin to see if he knows about anybody that's trying to move in on their territory in Southside Jamaica, Queens. And at first, Joaquin wasn't telling Rock nothing. He like, bruh, ain't nobody trying to do no business in Southside Jamaica, Queens. Like, it's too many people to pay. You giving away a lot of money doing business in Southside Jamaica, Queens. Like, ain't nobody rocking with Southside Jamaica, Queens right now, bruh. But I would suggest you talk to your Baltimore friend Tremont, because he been making a lot of moves lately. And he got a connect that's an agent that's giving him a good price for the low. And he might be interested in doing business in New York City. And with Raquel finding out this information from Joaquin, we already know she's about to target Tremont and take him out in episode 4 and meet up with Tremont's agent Connect so she could become the supplier. I definitely believe that's what's going to happen in episode 4. It ain't no surprise about Tremont popping up in season 4. We knew this was going to happen based off the season 4 trailer. We just ain't know which episode he was going to pop up in. And with us now knowing the information that we know, Tremont will be making a return in episode 4. And I'm expecting Raquel to get even on Tremont and get her revenge on Tremont for what he did in the season 2 finale by crossing Raquel and going behind her back to work with Juliana and Joaquin. Now, moving on to Jukebox. In this episode, we really saw Jukebox stand on business and embrace her sexuality in this episode. And she found a way to avoid jail time from going AWOL in the army in this episode as well. Because we all know she went AWOL in episode 2, and we all know she was going to have to face the music and deal with the consequences from her actions. And she did in this episode. The army pulled up to her house in this episode to figure out why she went AWOL, let it be known to her that AWOL is serious and she could possibly go to jail for this. And Jukebox was not trying to hear anything they had to say. She told them straight up she liked girls. She like, bruh, I'm me. This is who I am. I like girls, and y'all don't accept that in the army. So go ahead and just give me my level 1 entry removal and we good, bro. Like, I don't want to be in the army no more. Y'all don't accept me for me, and it is what it is. It ain't really much else to say. And when the army heard that, they threw their hands up. They like, look here, bro, you got it. Like, we gonna give you your level 1 entry removal from the army. It is what it is. You making a horrible decision by doing this. You let your country down and all this stuff. And Jukebox had to tell them straight up, her country done failed her and her people multiple times, bro. She ain't trying to hear that. But like I said, Jukebox was standing on business in this episode, and she was really embracing her sexuality, as well as leaving the music behind and putting it in the past. And she let that be known to Kanan in this episode when her and Kanan was kicking it with each other and having a conversation about Famous. And while I mentioned Famous getting brought up in this conversation between Kanan and Jukebox, I might have to make a video on Famous' character and give my thoughts and my opinion about his character and whether or not if he's dead or alive, because Famous is a talk of the town right now, bruh, and everybody want to know where the hell is Famous at. That's arguably the #1 question in the Power universe, is where Famous at. Everybody wants to know where is Famous at. So I might have to do a separate video about Famous and talk about his character and give my thoughts about him, because this Famous stuff is really getting out of hand. And at this point, I'm starting to get impatient my goddamn self, and I really want to know where the hell is Famous at. But continuing on with Jukebox, we saw Jukebox reunite with her old crew in this episode that she used to run with in season 1. We know in season 1, Jukebox was hitting a bunch of licks. She was stealing all the name brand clothes from Polo, Michael Kors, everything you need. Jukebox had it back in the day in season 1. But when things started to take a turn for the worse and she almost got caught up stealing, Jukebox decided to get that lifestyle up, and she hasn't been on that type of time ever since. And Jukebox friends was trying to encourage her to get back on that type of time in this episode, and they was kicking it with her at the bar. But Jukebox let them know that she wasn't on that type of time anymore, and she's not doing that stuff anymore, and she wants to do something different, which they all laughed at her about when she said this. And when they did that, Jukebox decided to leave. She like, I'm out, bro. I ain't about to kick it with y'all. Y'all just about to laugh in my face about the stuff that I want to do. I'm out of here. So as she was walking home from the bar, she ended up walking past an all-girls bar, and she was standing out front hesitating on whether or not that she wanted to go inside. And out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere, a woman by the name of Myra pops up and encourages Jukebox to go inside, letting it be known to Jukebox that she know how she feels. She was once in Jukebox position before, and she'll make sure that Jukebox is comfortable, and she'll make sure that Jukebox is good and comfortable if she come inside and kick it with her. And that's what she did. Jukebox ended up going. And that's what she did. Jukebox ended up going inside of this all-girls bar, and she ended up meeting some new characters in this episode, and she had a good time at this bar. And even though Jukebox had a great time at this bar, I do feel like she need to keep her eyes on Myra, bruh. Like, she just need to keep her eyes on all these women that she was having an interaction with in this episode. Maybe it's just me, I don't know, but it's just something about these characters that I don't like. I don't trust them just yet. Y'all let me know if I'm reaching in the comment section or not, but I feel like Jukebox need to keep her distance from these females, bruh. Now, moving on, in this episode, we saw Lulu help out B-Rilla by getting him some extra cash so he could move out and finally get his own crib and stop sleeping on Lulu's couch, because we found out in this episode that B-Rilla is homeless and he's sleeping on Lulu's couch. Lulu and B-Rilla decide to go have a conversation with Mr. Guilford in this episode to see if it's possible if Mr. Guilford could give B-Rilla another advance so he could get the hell out of Lulu's crib. And Mr. Guilford was cool with that. He ain't had no problem doing that, but he wanted to have a conversation with B-Rilla first because he wanted to squash the issues between him and B-Rilla. Because Mr. Guilford does not like the fact that B-Rilla keeps making racial jokes about him and Jewish people. He doesn't like that at all. And this scene that took place between Lulu, B-Rilla, and Mr. Guilford was arguably one of my favorite scenes in this episode. Because both Mr. Guilford and B-Rilla made valid points in this conversation, bro. They both made some great points, and I couldn't disagree with B-Rilla or Mr. Guilford in this episode. But Mr. Guilford seems cool though. It don't seem like Mr. Guilford is trying to cause any problems from B-Rilla. It really seemed like B-Rilla is the problem, if anything, bruh. That's what I took from watching this scene, bruh. B-Rilla is really the problem. And I ain't gonna front. I don't see this little hip-hop thing lasting between B-Rilla and Lulu, bruh. I feel like B-Rilla is just gonna do something dumb and stupid that could potentially land him back in jail before season 4 is over with. I don't know, but all I know is Lulu better stay away from B-Rilla before B-Rilla gets him caught up into some BS, bruh. I don't trust B-Rilla, bruh. B-Rilla really seems like a crash-out dummy. And Lulu does not need to be around no crash-out dummies right now. So if I'm Lulu, I'm cutting ties with B-Rilla and staying far away from him as much as possible, bruh. Now in this episode, we saw Kanan get a new apartment after baby Ronnie, aka Unique, pulled up to Kanan's apartment building tripping looking for Kanan. We know Unique ran into Crystal in this episode and he bumped the hell out of Crystal when he was leaving Kanan's building, and she got pissed off about this. She looked at Unique like, damn, bro, you could have said excuse me or something. And when she said this, Unique didn't say not one word to Crystal. He just turned around and looked at her. Crystal got shook when she saw that look on Unique's face. Your boy Unique was out there acting like Ronnie, bro. He was channeling his inner Ronnie in this episode, bro. But right after this, Crystal told Kanan straight up she does not feel safe in Kanan's apartment building. She like, look here, bruh. You got OC, you got dope boys running in and out of here. Like, you working out of this apartment building. It's some crazy dudes with scars all over his face, aka Unique, walking through this apartment complex. Like, I'm scared, bruh. I don't feel safe here. And she told Kanan straight up she thinks he needs to find another apartment. And Kanan wasn't with this at first. He like, bruh, I ain't trying to get in another apartment. Like, I'm cool where I'm at. But Kanan ended up changing his mind about this because while him and Crystal was looking at apartments, one of the realtors at the apartment that they was checking out was on some funny style stuff, and he wasn't trying to rent the apartment to Crystal and Kanan, which pissed Kanan off. And with this realtor pissing off Kanan, this encouraged him to get an apartment, which Crystal was happy about. And shout out to Crystal too, by the way. I gotta give her props because she was telling Kanan some truth in this episode about him staying at the apartment that he's working out of and how that's not a good idea. I'm glad Crystal told Kanan this because that's not the smartest idea. And based off of what happened at the end of the episode with Unique running up in Kanan's apartment while OC was there, Kanan is definitely going to have to find another place to stay at because Unique is steady popping up at his house, which is not a good thing for him at all. So shout out to Crystal for putting this bug in Kanan's ear to get a new apartment in this episode because that was smart for him to do. But other than that, I ain't got too much else to say about this episode. I can't wait to see episode 4. Leave any comments, theories, predictions down below in the comment section if you have any. If you made it to the end of this video and you like the video that I uploaded and created, hit that like button to help this video get recommended across the algorithm, and hit the post bell notification button to support the channel and to get updated on all content I post on my channel. Much love to everybody that's been supporting me and rocking with me. I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Y'all be safe and God bless. I'll get at y'all later.